Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Shana Schuman, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. I've had the chance to come out for some 613 programs before, and we've had a number of 613ers come to our house for Shabbos, so I'm going to throw this out to you. You are hereby invited. If you're willing to come to Rogers Park, we would love to give you a good meal and have a fun time with you. So just let me know. But tonight, we're here to bake Hamentashen. And before we jump right in, I wanted to share with you some really cool stuff and some fun facts about Hamentashen in Purim. So, question, and just like shout it out. When you think of Purim, tell me what comes to mind. The holiday of Purim, it's around the corner. What comes to mind?
Hamentashen.
Hamentashen, number one, right. Costumes, right? Parties, come on, parties. I always laugh because I think of the kids, like they get to be like really loud in shul, and it's a mitzvah, right? On Purim, no holding back, they can go all out. But I'm here because I absolutely love to bake. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love to bake cookies, scones, torts, muffins, artisanal breads, but I have to come clean, and I have a confession to make.
I love to eat them, by the way.
I do not bake Hamentashen.
Okay,
The one
nice
thing.
knowing
It's
you
true,
all.
right?
Good
We're
night.
married
Thanks for
almost
coming.
30 years, and you know it's true. I don't bake Hamentashen.
True.
And I'm going to tell you why. So I grew up in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, where I grew up with the absolute most incredible Hamentashen in the entire world. The school that I went to, the Jewish Day School, had a fundraiser where all these bubbies would come into our school cafeteria, and like in the olden days, from December through March, they would bake Hamentashen and sell it to raise money for the school. So there was Bertha and Hannah, Annie, Gladys, Ethel, Tybee, and there were a few others. And only one man was ever allowed into the inner sanctuary of the kitchen. He just so happened to have been my dad. And it was really cool and really, really cute. But the funny part is that my dad never baked or cooked anything ever except the Hamentashen. So my friends, before we roll up our sleeves and start baking, I want to explore a few questions with you here tonight. One, where do Hamentashen come from? Where do they originate? Question number two, what's the significance or the deal with the name Hamentashen? And three, why do we really eat Hamentashen on Purim? So let's start with question number one. Where do Hamentashen originate? So it's interesting, and I discovered this as I was researching for tonight. One of the first times that Hamentashen are mentioned was in a 16th century play, or actually it was a comedy skit for Purim that was performed in Italy. But it was not referred to as Hamentashen in Yiddish, but rather in Hebrew as Oznei Haman, which literally can be translated as Haman's ears. So one might think that this perhaps was the source of the myth that Haman's ears were cut off before he was executed on the gallows, and that's why we eat Hamentashen to celebrate his downfall. Totally not true, but there was this little rumor that went around. Just as a side note, though, the term oznayim, ears, was used in Ashkenazi culture to refer to other foods, things like stuffed dumplings. They were actually called little ears. So now if we go to modern cuisine, or to something that we might be familiar with, who here has ever had a pelmir? Pelmirs? Oh,
like
French cooking. They're elephant ears. It's puffed pastry that's rolled, sprinkled in a cinnamon sugar, and baked.
Not really.
Pelmirs.
No.
No.
Guys.
But they have this fascination with ears, which quite frankly I can't quite wrap my head around, but that's, I guess, for another conversation. But that's where Hamentashen was first born, if you want to call it. To answer our second question is, why are Hamentashen called Hamentashen? We need to go back to my youth again. Now, I told you about these bubbies, all these grandmas and my dad. Well, they would bake these Hamentashen, and they would fill them with this poppy seed mixture, right? So I remember this like it was yesterday, because I used to think as a kid, like, don't they know what chocolate chips are? How did they discover the amazingness of chocolate? But okay, the number one seller was these poppy seed Hamentashen, and this lifelong mystery for me, because it's not one of my favorites, was finally solved. The reason that baking Hamentashen with poppy seed is traditional is because it's like a culinary play on words. In Yiddish, which is the language of Eastern European Jews, which is like my name is Shana. It's not a Hebrew name, it's a Yiddish name. But poppy seeds are called mun. Mun sounds a lot like Haman, exactly. Tash means pocket. So Hamentashen, a Hamentashen, can literally be translated as a poppy seed-filled pocket. But that's the play on words, but I'd like to go a little bit deeper with you all here tonight. Poppy seed is a shout out to Queen Esther. So during the Purim story, we know that Esther lived as a hidden Jew until she had to reveal her identity to King Ahasuerus to save her people, right? Right, that's part of the story. So while Esther lived in the palace as a hidden Jew, she kept her Judaism alive by keeping kosher. And it is known that Esther refrained from eating meat from the palace, and she probably sustained herself by eating fruits and vegetables, beans, and seeds. Seeds. By filling the Hamentashen with poppy seeds, it reminds us of Queen Esther's bravery and determination to sustain her Judaism even in very difficult times. So I thought that was really kind of cool. So our third question for the night is, why do we eat Hamentashen on Purim? Number one answer surveyed. Ding, 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 ding. They're totally delish, right? Seriously, we have this custom of having Hamentashen on Purim because it is so symbolic to the holiday. Let's just talk about some of these symbols. The Hamentashen symbolizes hidden messages. Let's go back to ancient Persia. When the news broke that Haman his plan broke out and that he wanted to kill the Jews, many Jewish people just simply could not believe that he had a goal of genocide, that he planned to annihilate an entire people. They just didn't believe it, which I could understand that. Mordecai had to convince the people just how serious the situation was. He did so by sending out secret messages. So I ask you, why secret?
Didn't want to identify the Jewish people.
Oh, maybe, but maybe the Persians knew who was Jewish and who wasn't. Well, he knew that he had to send it secretly because whatever message that he would use I call it the PPS, the Persian postal system, or whatever system that they had back then, that it would definitely be intercepted. He knew he couldn't trust the infrastructure within Persia. He had to be clever and clandestine. So how do you think he sent the messages to the people? How did he do it?
Inside cookies.
Bingo. He sent hidden messages inside the pastries.
No way.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Another symbol.
Like a fortune
tower.
Pretty cool, exactly. Pretty cool.
Can we have
So,
mind-blowing emojis going on now? Did I have it? Anyone ever
I thought that was pretty cool. So another symbol, and I will tell you that my husband and I, we did not plan this. Oh, we're going to get to this.
Okay.
Well, sort of. I sort of mentioned that here, but no, there were not three-cornered pastries back then, but we're going to get to the three corners in a second. But my husband and I did not collaborate on this. I think it really speaks to the symbolism of Purim. So I'm going to get to my point, that Hamentashen represent hidden sweetness. That before the Purim story, the Jewish people lived inside the land of Israel, and we had our temple, right? And as Rabbi Schuman said, life was replete with open and obvious miracles. Miracles happened all the time. It was a spiritual existence. After the temple was destroyed, life changed. The Jews were now in the diaspora, and we were no longer privy to open and obvious miracles, as my husband spoke. So here it is. A big bad guy comes up with a plan to kill the Jews. Everything is going just fine and dandy until that whole plan gets turned upside down. The Purim story is a testament that while things did change, things also remain the same. God, while more hidden, as my husband said earlier, he was still with us. He never abandoned us, but on the contrary, he is ever present. I kind of think of it as that it's more like behind the scenes, but present. So this hidden sweetness parallels to the Hamentashen, where that sweet filling is hidden inside the dough. So lastly, we're all familiar that Haman himself was known to wear this three-cornered hat. And to celebrate it like we eat Hamentashen that are triangular, we celebrate his downfall by eating these delicious three-cornered pastries. But I want to go a little bit deeper here tonight. In the Purim story, when the tide started to turn, and Haman's plan that was going so great started to turn against him, the Medrash teaches us that Haman, when he recognized the merits and greatness of our ancestors, our forefathers, our three forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his strength weakened. And I'm going to prove it to you, because in the Megillah, we know that his wife Zeresh and his friends or advisors, they knew it too. So I'm going to quote from chapter 6, verse 13, from the Megillah of Esther. I'm going to say it in Hebrew and translate it into English. Vayisaper Haman lezeresh ishto ulechol ohavav. And Haman told to his wife Zeresh and to all who loved him, or his friends, Eis kol asher karahu, all that had happened to him. That's referring to Haman thinking that he's going to receive all this honor and glory from the king, when in fact it turned and it was Mordecai who got to sit on the king's horse and be led through the town, with Haman being humiliated. Vayomer lo chachamav v'zeresh ishto. And his advisors and Zeresh, his wife, said to him, this is a quote, In mizera ha-Yehudim Mordecai, if Mordecai is Jewish, I'm going to say it my way, if Mordecai is a descendant of the three forefathers, right, if he's Jewish, asher hachilosa lefanov, linpol lefanov, that Mordecai who you are starting to fall in front of, like the tide's turning, like it's going south, lo suchalo kinafol tipol lefanov. You will not be able to win against him, but you will surely lose to him. The three corners are a testament to more than just Haman's fashion choices, but a symbol of our strength as a nation to weaken our enemies. And in this story, in this case, it's referring to Haman. So, in conclusion, we've heard some fun facts about Hamentashen and about Purim. We had a great class about some of the deeper meanings of the holiday. And we've had an idea, we have an idea now where Hamentashen originate. We talked about how Hamentashen got their name and why they're called Hamentashen. And we have a better understanding about why we celebrate Purim by eating Hamentashen. So I have one final question for you all here tonight. What are we waiting for? Let's bake some Hamentashen and have some fun. So I want to thank Mrs. Garfinkel, because she really did all the legwork to present this, to get this ready for you. And this is her Hamentashen dough. And this is one of the funnest things, I think, to do. While I am a bit of a newbie with Hamentashen, I will brag a little, and I say this modestly, but my daughter Zahavan and I are 2007 Chicago Tribune cookie champions.
Wow.
We did win a cookie contest, and we're in the paper. So, and I do love to bake, so you'll just have to come some Shabbos afternoon or something, and we'll feed you well. So what I'll do now is I have here, just in case anybody is inclined, I did bring in some gloves. I'm gonna put them on, I'm gonna give out some dough. The idea with the Hamentashen is just roll it out. If you need some flour, if it's a little sticky, take some flour just to keep it so that it doesn't stick to the foil or to your cookie cutters. You're gonna wanna roll it to about as thick as your, half of your finger's width, like this, about 1/8 inch. And then we're gonna cut them and then we're gonna start to pinch them. We'll give you little containers so that you can take them home and bake it. I suggest just preheat your oven to 350. Throw it, well, let me say this. Preheat to 350. If you have a regular cookie sheet, it is worthwhile to transfer it to a cookie sheet and not bake it on aluminum foil. It will bake better. But if you don't, hey, it'll still be good. Bake them for probably about 8 to 10 minutes or so. Just keep your eye on it until it's golden. Let them cool because the filling can be really hot, and then take a cold glass of milk or a hot cup of tea and enjoy. Okay. So
I also have the recipe that I took a picture of, so I can absolutely send that out to everyone. So we have actually we have all this, we actually have even more dough if we need.
yes, will be great.
Okay.
Now, I'm just like laughing here because like I will tell you, I really do love to bake. It's one of my favorite things in the world, and I am a little bit of a snob when it comes to what I use when I bake. So I like, and I laugh. I'm also a traditionalist. So like for me, I'm thinking, the only reason I don't like them is poppy seed or fruit. But this is a modern class here, guys. You get chocolate chips or
Now we're talking.
marshmallow. How's
A lot better
that?
than food.
Take that, 16th century.
What else
We
is
do
there again?
have. She has apricot.
Oh, there we
I
go.